Come with me to meet a tree of wonderful magic properties. Okay, so I thought I would take you into the woods and share with you a tree that is just amazing for witchcraft, for healing, for food. They're beautiful in the winter time, and it's a tree that my son used to call a bone tree when he was like 2 or 3 years old. So this tree grows, I think, in every northern region. Well, at least in every cold climate. It doesn't like heat very much. And this tree is known for its sap that tastes like sugar water. And so for years it was used to sweeten like foods, to sweeten teas, to ferment wines, fruits, and ales and various things. And then also it's been used as a healing remedy because it has anti-inflammatory properties. So if you're not going to drink it, you can turn it into a salve that you can put on burns or any kind of rashes on the skin. It really has just like 101 different uses, and every part of this tree, from its leaves and bark, even its branches, can be turned into something that is edible or useful. It is also something that has been used for furniture and beautification within the home and bowls and various things. And so the tree that I am talking about is the paper birch. And right over here is this single tree that I like to come and visit whenever I can. Normally when you see these, they either grow singular or they grow in a grouping. And if you see a grouping, it is always known that there's one single one that is like the mother tree that all of the others came from. And so this particular tree doesn't have that family network yet. And so I like coming to it because it's a younger tree and just kind of spending a few moments with it. So in the state of Minnesota, it is against the law to wild harvest birch because of so many properties of it. They need to protect it. And so this tree here, I just come and spend some time with it. I connect with the nature spirit of the tree and the area, and I love coming and just bringing my love to this tree. But at home, I have a friend that has gifted me just a very small amount of sap and a bit of birch carving from their own tree. And I'm going to bring you home and show you how I do a floor wash and talk about the magic properties of this amazing tree. Spring equinox is just around the corner, which usually happens around March 17th to 21st, depending on the wobble of the earth. And that is exactly about the time that the birch trees begin to be ready to be tapped to collect the sugar waters that come out of them, or the sap. And so this sugar water is actually from last year. I have held on to it in preparation for this year's spring equinox, and you can see it's still clear, which means it's still good. And again, this was given to me by a friend who has lots of trees and so was able to save some for me. She also gave me some birch wood, and I love the way that it naturally spirals. Spirals are a big symbol for creativity, for meditation, for beginnings, for the path, the journey that you are doing right now, which is usually symbolic of growth and learning, anything that you're studying, or the seasons. So yeah, so spirals for me are a big deal, and especially right now going into spring. So I have my sugar water and I have my birch, and I am going to go ahead and make a wash that I'm going to use on my front door, my front steps, and any other spaces that are transitional in my home. So like door frames, going to my bedrooms, the bathrooms. I will tend to use this to wash like the staircase which has like a lot of residue energy that is created by us going up and down the stairs and hallways and things like this. So this is not like a spring cleaning for the dust. This is actually a spring cleaning of the energy that could build up during the winter time when we're kind of in hibernation, spending more time indoors. Okay, so before I get into that, I wanted to spend a few moments and talk about why this particular sugar water is not sticky. So my friend has boiled it down in water, and so the properties of the birch, the smell of the birch, the taste is still there, but the sap, like the sugar, has actually been removed. Okay, so this is not straight from the birch. This has been diluted. And so it doesn't have that stickiness. Of course, we don't want to spread our home with sticky sugar, right? It's going to attract ants and all kinds of other things and be tacky and become sticky when we're moving around. So obviously we don't want to take directly from the tree and do this. So this has been diluted for this particular purpose, by a witch, for a witch, for the spring cleaning of energies. Okay, so let's take a moment and just talk a few seconds about the magic of the birch tree. So, because of so many properties and so many uses of it, it has really connected with humans in the sense of renewal, the sense of new beginnings, the time when everything in the northern hemisphere is being reborn, when that cycle of life is starting to move and transition into spring, into summer, into that time of abundance. And so you can tell when spring actually comes by the signifier of the birch sap beginning to flow. So we can tap in. So if you have a tree, you can tap into it. And when that sap begins to naturally flow is when you know spring is here. So before calendars, we had to depend on nature to tell us when the season is. So there's all these different signifiers that tell us humans what is going on and how to survive. Whether we were hunter-gatherers or we were farmers or whatever it is, that we came from, nature always told us the signifiers on how to survive, and all we had to do was pay attention to our surroundings, which is something now in the modern age that we don't really have as much. But those signifiers are still there for us. And these are things that I have learned since moving to Minnesota, that the moment the dandelions are actually in bloom is the indicator on when it is time to bring seeds out to sow. It'll feel warm, but really we need to wait for the dandelions. And that is an experience I've had living in Minnesota that has really brought a lot of that nature awareness into my magic in a way it never did in other places. And so what it's taught me is no matter where we live, nature speaks to us. Gives us cues and understandings on how to interact with the season, the environments that we live in, when to go out foraging, when to plant things. All of that kind of stuff is right there in front of our eyes, with nature speaking to us. And then we can back that up with science that has gone into understanding why these things happen when they do. What is the photogenics that is happening around us? So I love the blend of that. So right now, going into spring, coming out of winter, in Minnesota, winter feels to go on beyond because every season kind of goes really slow into the transitions. Spring comes like that. It's suddenly here. And so I need to be prepared. I need to be ready to make sure that I get my seeds in the earth in time, that I do all the things that I need to do in order to have a really good harvest. Because if I'm lazy with it, then it's not going to happen the way I hope it will. That is some of the magic that Birch teaches us about spring, about readiness, about renewal, beginnings, and being able to see things going on around us. So sugar in itself is really powerful in magic because it's going to attract joy, right? Usually when we eat something that is sweet, it makes us smile. And so using that in magic is the perfect element that is for like love spells and joy spells, coming out of any kind of sluggish energy, which is exactly what the end of winter can feel like. At least for me, it does. And so, using things that have a sweetness, sugar, birch, all of that, it comes all together in the birch tree magic. So, it's really an amazing tree. Okay, so let's get to making my wash. Okay, so I like using a brass bowl to signify the sun, because spring is also when the season is being warmed by that sun that every day feels like it's getting a little bit closer. It's warming us up. We can feel it through the windows. You can tell that the birds are starting to sing a little bit more. The squirrels are getting a little more aggressive, looking for various seeds and such that have been buried. And so the sun is why I use this bowl. Okay, so I can choose to let this soak into it, but this year I'm not going to do that. I normally do. I have another use for this later on, and so I don't want it to be hydrated right now, but I am going to leave it right here so that the energy is connected to the water that I'm using. And this in here is river water that I collected when I was out by that river where I filmed the birch tree. Okay, so now I'm going to add just a little bit of that sugar water. There is still sweetness in it. Oop, of course. There's still sweetness in this, and so I don't want to add a whole lot because I don't want the smell of it to attract any critters, especially at my front door. Okay, so I'm going to spend a few moments now holding the bowl and adding my intentions. I'm going to whisper to it, and I'm going to meditate with it for about 20 minutes, bringing my intention of what I am seeking to achieve by this blend. So obviously I'm going to be using this to wash my front doors, like I said, and so that is going to be my focus. All of the positivity, all of the joy that I'm hoping to attract to my front door, to my home, for my family. So I'm going to go ahead and spend those few moments, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have a floating candle. I picked this up at Michael's. I'm starting to see them come back into popularity, so that's a really awesome thing. So floating candles are great for any kind of water magics. And I am going to light this because I am now illuminating the spell. I'm bringing the sunlight, the attraction of light to it. And I'm going to go ahead and put that right in the water. And it is going to soak in all of that beautiful spell work, bringing all of that together. So it's like a waking up. It's almost as if the sunrise in the morning is waking everything up. And you can tell by that focus on how it is glowing off of the sides of the bowl, which is a big reason why brass was used for a lot of sun magic. So I am going to go ahead and just go into a deep meditation. I might go into some chanting, whatever is inspired from my heart right now that I feel that my home, my family, myself needs. Maybe even what I feel that the season needs, maybe my community, as well as local farmers, or whatever is in my awareness that I can help bring positive energy to the environment, to the atmosphere of the area that I live. So it's not just about me, it's about everything that could possibly influence the positivity that can come to me. So a lot of focus of shared love, growing with communication and being able to listen to each other, accept each other for where we are, honor the differences that we have. So all of those kinds of things are about to go into this meditation. Okay, so here we go. The water is now ready. So the candle burned for about 4 hours, and during that time, I let it sit directly in the sunlight. An extra bit of energy going into this. So now it's ready for me to use on my doors, on my trim, all over my home, and to really prepare my family for the transition of winter into spring. So thanks for stopping by. hopefully everybody has a beautiful spring equinox, or whichever holiday it is seasonally around the world. And thanks for stopping by. Happy witching!